Hello everyone. This video may be called performance tips on Wolf King GT Pro and the Segway GT2. Both great scooters. But when riding them, I'm going to tell you an experience I had on each scooter hitting a bump that was unexpected, like a tree root, right? A tree root sticking up from the ground that pushes the cement up. It's equivalent to hitting a pothole, just a hole in the road, right? So on these two scooters, they're both pretty fast. This one, the Segway GT2, this can go about 45 miles per hour when it's on boost setting with all the fastest settings turned on, approximately 45 miles per hour. And it's very fast. But when I hit a bump on it, I hit a bump, and I had mentioned in the past, if any of you watched my video, my review of this scooter, and I lost the speaker. I got it, I went and picked it up, but it came unlocked. It came off the scooter when I hit this bump really hard. And I hit the bump at full speed, and it transferred. Now this suspension is very good. It's one of my favorite suspensions for stability, but it still does not compare to, and I'm not sure exactly why this is. It could be the tires are a factor too, right? If we look at the tires, but it's a suspension. I don't think it's just the tires, because both tires on these two scooters have the similar air pressure, okay? But they're a little different. But I think they're similar in size, but they're a little bit different. They're a different tire. I like these tires a lot because they're more like a race tire. It's more like what I think they call the PMT tires, and they have the self-healing gel in there. I'm calling it a gel, but it's a non-liquid, but it never dries. So I like that a lot, and I'm interested in possibly putting that kind of tire on the Wolf King GT Pro if it'll fit on there. I want to buy PMT tires that have the self-healing, self-sealing layer in there, and I think we just have to keep asking for it. So I'm going to keep making videos requesting that be considered or done, so that can be a choice that for us consumers or whatever we are, scooter riders will have that choice to have those high-quality race tires with the self-sealing, self-healing layer in there, which I definitely want that. But getting back to hitting this bump. On each scooter, I hit the same bump, okay? And on this scooter, the Wolf King GT Pro, it was so smooth. I don't even know how to explain it. This suspension in the front is not adjustable on this one. This is the Wolf King GT Pro, right? The new Wolf King GTR has an adjustment on the front suspension where you can turn this and make adjustments, right? You can adjust how quickly the suspension moves or recovers. Okay, so I don't know which setting it is, if it's how fast it there's names and words for all this. I don't have those memorized at the moment, but this scooter, just like it is, so you can't adjust the suspension on this one, right? Wolf King GT Pro, and it was smooth over that bump, right? Very smooth. This one was so jarring, even though it has good suspension on it. And this is with the suspension set the way it comes from the factory, so I don't know what those settings were because I've changed them since then. But whatever the settings were at, which felt good, it felt smooth, riding it felt fine until I hit that bump. Since then, I've adjusted it to be softer, and it's still not the same. It's still not equivalent to what this is. It's just different, and I don't know how to explain that, but it transfers more of the energy to the person, so I'm receiving more of the jarring. And I don't know why that is. This is very good suspension, but it's just something I noticed. Wolf King GT Pro, I hit that bump at a faster speed, right? Same speed and faster speed. I've hit the bump many times. I forget it's there sometimes. I forget these bumps are there, So I've hit it at the same speed, which is about 45 miles an hour, and I've also hit it at 60 miles an hour. And at both speeds, it was similar. It was just pretty smooth over the bump. It didn't jar me, right? I wasn't jarred, if I say it that way. It did. I felt it, but this one seemed like my hands were almost hitting the bump, like getting slammed by the bump. And they call this like some people call this the Cadillac or Escalade or all these fancy automobiles, but those automobiles are very smooth over bumps. This one is not as smooth. Really, the Wolf King GT Pro is more smooth to me. The suspension is more smooth over really, really rough bumps than this is. Right now, I'm kind of looking at this one more of like a smooth track racer. Like if it's smooth, it'll do really well. It has good suspension. You can see it's really designed well, and it's very stable, which is one of my favorite things about the Segway GT2, is the stability of the suspension. What I mean is, when I'm going fast, it doesn't feel like it wants to turn. It feels like I could let go with one hand and ride with one hand. And many of you know, if you've ridden many different scooters, that usually on a scooter, you never want to take one hand off because it can easily just turn, real easily, like it wants to turn, right? This wants to go straight. Both of these scooters want to go straight. I like that very much. Neither of these scooters have steering stabilizers on them, and they're absolutely stable at the full speed of each scooter. And I imagine if this one could go faster, because this only goes about 45, if this could do 60 or more, even 70, if it could, which I think if they made it like a 94 volt system, it would do that. If it was a higher voltage system, closer to 100 volts, and I would say double the battery capacity from 12 watt hours to over 3,000 watt hours. I would like to see that in future generations, or even, you know, if they could do that with this one, but I guess it would have to be a future generation of it, right? Because it's a change. But did I lose my train of thought? Okay, well, I forgot what I was saying, apologies. But this scooter is, I love the look of it, the design of it. It's just that it's not as smooth as the Wolf King GT Pro. So let's see. This one was on sale for, and this is the limited edition, and they were on sale. I don't know if they're still on sale or not, but they were on sale for around $3,000, and it came with a speaker, which, as I mentioned to you, fell off when I hit a bump. Now I got the speaker; it's just all scratched up. So I'm not happy that it fell off there, because that means, to me, it means the lock failed, the locking mechanism, right? It can't handle the parameters of the performance parameters of the scooter, right? That's what that says to me. The Wolf King GT Pro, right out of the box. This is out of the box, right? I just adjusted everything to my preference. I put the bell on it, but I just adjusted things. I added the phone holder, and that phone holder is, let's see if there's a name on it. TIAKIA, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that phone holder right now. So yeah, this scooter, the Wolf King GT Pro, out of the box is great. I'm really happy with it. I noticed on the Wolf King GTR, this is supposed to be just about these two scooters, but I'm going to mention the Wolf King GTR. I like that it has adjustable front suspension, and I like that it has a shock in the back versus this just having the springs back there. But as this is, I still like it a lot. One of the mechanics, I think it was Levin at Voro Motors Panorama City, mentioned that in a video, he mentioned that the new GTR, this bolt is not hidden behind this bar, so this bar no longer has to be removed to access that bolt. And I don't know what conditions that bolt would have to be accessed. I don't know, because I haven't had to take it off myself yet, but I know it's nice when you can access bolts. But one of my thoughts is, what does it take to get this off, right? So it looks like these have to come off. I'm not sure how hard it is to get this bar off. But if a repair engineer, I'll call Levin a repair engineer, if he's saying he likes, you know, the newer design on the next generation up, I'll call it the GTR, I understand that, and I appreciate that too. One of my thoughts is there a way to lower it down to this height? Because I like the height of this, and the new one is even taller, right? And it looks like the front's taller as well. Excuse me, it looks like the front is taller as well. I've noticed on this suspension, and I'm going to go make some test videos of this today, this suspension is very noisy. When I hit a bump, it's not bottoming out. It's not hitting here, right? This is not hitting here. But rather, when this drops, right? So I hit a bump and it drops. It goes back down. It sounds like it's slamming, like almost like a metal to metal, or like a hard material to a hard material instead of a bushing or something. I'm concerned about that, and I want to know if something's wrong with this. Is there something missing from this, or is there something I can do to it to help it not hit so hard? And I'm talking about just even little bumps. It can be a big bump or a little bump. It doesn't seem to always do it, which also has me puzzled, because I could hit a big bump and it won't even do it, and then sometimes I can hit a big bump and it'll do it really bad. It'll slam down. Other times I hit a small bump and it does it really bad. Other times I hit a small bump and I don't hear anything. So I don't know why there's an inconsistency with that, and what, you know, I don't understand all that, and I don't have a schematic that shows what's inside of here. You know, what's in there? Is there supposed to be a bushing that prevents this from slamming back down when it fully extends? So that's a thought on that. But like I said, the suspension, aside from that loud noise it makes when it drops, aside from that, it's very smooth going over the ones in terms of like my hands, like what I feel in the steering. Because on the Segway GT2, like I was saying, when I hit that bump at full speed at 40 plus miles per hour, and I hit that bump in the where the cement pushed up where the tree root pushed the cement up, right? There's bumps in the road. It could be in the bike path. It could be in the side of the road. It could be a pothole where it just drops down, right? Or it could be where it goes up. It can go up, down, usually goes down, but in the sidewalks or bike paths, it tends to go up. But this thing slammed so hard. What I mean is, it didn't bottom out. It just transferred the energy to me, to my hands. And so I'm just mentioning that to you, and it's something I think about when I'm thinking about how I'm going to tune the suspension and also what scooters I'll buy. So right now, I would say this is the favorite for when there's bumps, and also this is faster. This was $3,200. This was $3,000 on sale. If you're looking at price, just price, right? Then that's something to consider, right? On sale for $3,200. On sale for $3,000, but it goes, this one goes a lot less fast, has a lot less battery capacity. This has a 1,512 watt hour. That means you could power something. You could draw 1,512 watts, right? 1,500 watts, basically, essentially. You could draw 1,500 watts for 1 hour, which is like powering a heater, right? You could power like a small little portable heater for 1 hour. This one is, I think it's 2,500 watt hours. That's 1,000 more watt hours of capacity. You're getting a lot more battery there. And what else? Higher voltage. Higher voltage is a favorite of mine. Study the Rion scooters, R-I-O-N, the Rion super scooters, right? These are super scooters. To me, that's the reference point. Not because the price is much higher, right? But just look at the numbers. They're using really high voltage. I think they're using like 94 volt batteries, which I think are over 100 volts when they're fully charged. I would like to see 84 volt batteries in both of these. This one's 84 volts fully charged, which they called 72 volts nominal. So it's 72 volts nominal, 84 volt chargers that charge that up to 84 volts. But if you have an 84 volt nominal, that's going up now, we're going up higher. 84 volt nominal would be 94 volts fully charged. And then is there a 94 volt nominal where like maybe 105 volts or 104 volts would be fully charged, right? So get the voltage up there. That just helps with responsiveness, and it helps with efficiency. Less amps, more voltage means less my understanding is less resistance, less drag, less heat, less friction, just more power, more responsiveness. It's just all positives. So instead of waiting like, oh, we'll come out with this in a few years, just make the best scooter you can make right now, right? I think that's what companies are doing. What's the best scooter you can make right now, and make it. These scooters need to charge faster too. This one, when I'm running my fast charger and the two XVE chargers, it'll charge in around 3 hours, but that's still 3 hours, right? This scooter, I don't see a fast charger for it. I think they reference the chargers that come with it as fast chargers, but I'm waiting 7 hours for these two 2-amp chargers to charge this battery, and the voltage on this is much lower than this voltage. This is a 58.4 volt charger. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what the charger says on this. It's 57 under output right here. It's 57.8 volts at 2 amps, right? So 2 of those is the same voltage, but if the amperage is 4 amps now, 4 amps total, right? 7 hours to charge. So when I ride my scooter, I have to wait 7 hours to ride it again. I want to charge it within less than an hour. 10-minute, 20-minute charging would be great. If I could do 10-minute charging to 80%, or 20-minute charging to 80% full capacity, right? Because we could charge it quickly at the lower charge levels. I'm sorry, when you don't go to 100%, you can charge quickly, right? That's common. I've read and heard this a lot and done it a lot with batteries, with different batteries. But with this scooter, right, we know the battery technology is there. We know the charging technology is there. I also have what I'll call a quick charger back here. Look how nice this is. And if you look up Ginger on Wheels, he talks about some quick chargers as well. But look at this charger. This is like a 15 amp charger, right? Look at that, it's got a display there. And the voltage goes up to 135 volts. You adjust the voltage yourself. See these two dials? One's voltage and one's amperage, right? So one of these is voltage and one is amperage. I don't know which is which, but I would know when I turn it on. I would just adjust them and see what it does. I haven't used this one yet, but I bought this one because I want to be able to use one charger for everything. Wouldn't that be nice? Instead of having like 40 chargers, like having so many different chargers. If you have a lot of scooters, you know. If you have a lot of scooters, and what if you just have one charger and different plugs, right? So that's the idea with that, and I'm going to start using that someday. I'll use that. I'll make videos of that too. But we have to know what the battery limitations are. So I need to monitor the temperature of the battery and make sure it's not getting hot, right? That's the main thing. And with that charger, I would never leave it alone. I would never leave it charging and walk away from it. That would be something I use when I'm right next to the battery and keeping an eye on the temperature and the voltage, and making sure the voltage never goes beyond where it should be, and making sure the temperature never goes anywhere near the danger areas, right? So anyway, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. The main thing I wanted to mention, is that this scooter, the Wolf King GT Pro, it's like the king of stability, and it's the king of speed. What I mean is, what good is speed if it's not stable? Right? If a scooter wants to shake, if it wants to speed wobble at high speeds, and then you put steering dampeners on a scooter, and then it's better, right? It's better, but it still wants to turn. It still wants to speed wobble. I'm not comfortable with that. And so that's why I sold the Nami Viper, was because the Viper could go over 60 miles an hour, right? Effortlessly, very fast. But the steering always it didn't feel stable to me. The Wolf King GT Pro, when I watched reviews on it, everyone was saying the same thing. Very stable to ride. And they were going fast, right? They were doing speed tests. So now I get it. When I rode the scooter, I thought, this is what everyone's talking about. There's no steering stabilizer on this. They sell them. I can add it. And maybe I will. I don't know if I will. Maybe I will. And if I do, I'll make videos on that. But it doesn't need it. The way it is right now, it's absolutely stable. It's totally solid. My first words were, before I bought the scooter, when I had test ridden the scooter, and then when I rode the scooter, I was always saying rock solid stability. Just meaning there's no feeling of the scooter feels like it wants to fall over, if I say it that way. Because scooters can feel like they just want to turn or fall because the wheel, and we think, oh, the wheel's small, so it feels that way. But the way this is designed, and this one too, the Segway GT2, very, very stable. So for low speeds, well, it goes 40 plus miles per hour, so that's fast. But you can't really compare it to, even though this is only 15 miles an hour faster, that's a significant difference. At those speeds, every miles per hour, you really notice it. I really notice it. I don't know if you guys, how you feel when you ride an electric bicycle or a scooter, electric scooter, like these kind, right? I think they call these kick scooters, right? Where you kick your foot, right? You can. I mean, we use electric on these, but if you've ridden one of these where you maybe the first ones, when I first got my first scooters, and let's say a scooter I have can go 15 miles an hour, right? 15 miles an hour. As the battery was draining, it might go down to 14 miles an hour, 13 miles an hour. And I noticed that 1 mile per hour difference. I'm not talking about the power of getting to that speed, because I'm just going at full speed, right? Whatever the scooter can do. So I'm not stopping and going. But I could really notice that 1 mile per hour. And I'll tell you something, it's the same thing. I noticed the same thing on the scooters when in the higher speeds, right? So if this is doing like 45 or 46 miles per hour, and then the battery's going lower and it's going down to like 44, 43, 42 miles per hour, it's dropping, I feel like I'm going slow suddenly. It just feels such a difference. This one's so fast that even when the battery's completely drained at 0%, it still feels fast. I don't know how they did that, but that's one of the things I like about this scooter. Again, I like both scooters. They're both great. I'm just pointing out something about the suspension that I noticed. And but I think Segway did a great job with this. I do hope Segway has a solution for people that buy used Segways. A friend of mine, Cameron, I'm going to mention this because I think it's very important. My friend Cameron, he's like Cam Moto on YouTube channel. He's very, very upset And I totally understand. I'm upset about it too. He bought a used scooter, right, a Segway gt1, and that scooter is he had to change the controller on it, and when he contacted Segway, they were asking who was the original owner of the scooter, and because Cameron did not have access to the original owner, they would not unlock the scooter, right? They would not unlock it. The scooter works, like it goes very low speed, but it has severe limitations and restrictions on it. So he can't ride the full speed on it. Like it won't go into any of the faster modes. It just goes in the slowest mode, and it goes very slow in the slowest mode. So I think the Segway GT1, I think he said it goes around 15 miles per hour. And that scooter is supposed to go much, much faster than that. I think 37 miles per hour. And that's because it's locked. And Cameron sent all the paperwork to Segway showing that the scooter was sold from the original owner to the next owner, and then from the next owner to him. And he showed Segway all that the bills of sale and everything, and just signatures and everything that we thought would be needed. And Segway just said the most that Segway recommended was to go to the police, which didn't make sense to either of us. We felt like that was just a way of them saying, we don't know what to tell you. They don't know what else to say. But we don't see how the police could even contact the person, because Cameron doesn't have any way to reach the person. So there's no phone number, there's no way to reach him. There's an ad. So I don't know if there's an ad where the scooter was sold from, which I don't know if the police would try to contact him through the app. So it's become this complicated thing. But look, that would never happen with the Wolf King GT Pro. There's no limit. There's not going to be any problems fixing the scooter if this scooter's bought used or sold, multiple times. Like someone sells it and someone sells it again, and it's just sold. Each owner's not going to have any problems with restriction on that. There's no concern about that. With the Segway, right? So if I bought this Segway GT2 new, right? If I sell this to someone, and let's say they break the scooter, let's say they burn out the controller, right? That's what happened with Cameron. The controller burned out. I'm going to make another video just on this one I'm talking about right now. I'm going to make another video because I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I think it's very, very important to know, because I never knew that if you buy a used Segway, right, that if you're not the original owner and you burn out something like the controller, right, that you can't then use the scooter to its full capacity. That I didn't know that exists. I don't know if it's only with the Segway GT1 scooter, and I'm guessing GT2 as well, that like those scooters. I don't know if it's those, but for sure Cameron has a Segway GT1. So there's videos on YouTube where people say, don't buy this scooter, the Segway GT1, don't buy the scooter, it took me months to get it fixed. I'm having some trouble with my new scooter right now. I won't go into details about what that is. One of it is range, very low range, right, on this. But is that normal? Look how small the battery is. I have two very powerful motors here. These motors are, I think their maximum they rated at 3,000 watts. My Wolf King GT Pro has 2,000 watt motors. That has 2,000 watts in the front, 2,000 watts in the back. This has 1,000 more watts, but a smaller battery. So I was making some calculations, and I said, wait a second. If I go full power on this, which is 3,000 watts each motor, which is 6,000 watts, and I have a 1,500 watt-hour battery. I have a 1,500 watt-hour battery. That's my energy, right, that we have, right? That's how we speak of it in electrodynamics. It's much more complicated than that if you look at particle physics, but we won't get into that right now because I'm still learning how to think and talk about that, okay? So I'm still learning how to do that. But I will speak the way of what's actually happening with energy as I learn what's happening with energy. But you can beat me there by just studying particle physics and electrodynamics together. You have to make those two collaborate, right? And then you'll have what's actually happening. Because electrodynamics doesn't have the story. It's not what's happening. It's not the whole story. It's like 1% or less. So, but I'm going to talk about that 1% right now. That's what I'm speaking of. Okay, that's because that's the way we're taught to talk about things. So the battery's a 1,500 watt hour, and if we have 6,000 watts total, if I'm riding at full speed, that means my battery would be drained, I think, in like 15 minutes, completely drained. And what I noticed on this scooter was when I was going fast, full speed, all the settings at maximum with the boost on, in race mode, it lost significant power after 12 miles, 10 to 12 miles. And I said, whoa, what's happening? What's happening with this? And is it just that the battery's not large enough to really support that size of motors for any time period, beyond approximately 15 minutes, I guess. But I want to be able to ride my scooter for hours, right? I want to be able to ride for hours, and not just hours. I want to be able to ride for hours and then recharge in less than an hour. And that we have the technology, but what happens to the scooter? The price would go up. Would the price go up if we put that quick charging in that can charge this in 20 minutes to 80%, right? And the battery being twice the capacity, so 3,000 watt hours instead of 1,512 watt hours. If it was 3,000 watt hours, would how much would the price go up, right? Does the price double on the scooter? How much does it go up? So I understand that they're trying to keep the price competitive and everything, but, I'm thinking, what can I do to make this recharge faster? How can I add batteries to this? Can I add a battery the length of this? This is a lot of space here, but the scooter's low. It's kind of low. This one has room for another battery. This one already has pretty good range, but look, here's a battery right here from another scooter, the same exact scooter. This is the Wolf King GT Pro right here. And here's a battery. And I was looking at this, and I wouldn't want to put it on top, but the question I was thinking about was, could I have a welder that does fabrication? Could I have a welder build the chamber here down to accommodate to accept this, to protect this battery underneath, and it would be underneath there. So let me see if I can do this here. I'm going to try to just hold the battery up to show how much room we have here. So if this is under here, look how much, I still have a lot of room underneath there with this battery here. To me, that looks like plenty of clearance. And there's even more room, but this battery's fine. I would have, if I put this battery in there, I hope that was in focus for you. If I put this battery, so that's how much space there is here. This is how much space there would be. If this battery's up here, there would be this much space still for clearance. And we'll just measure that right now. So we're looking at approximately, let's see if I can do this. That's like 5 3/4 inches of clearance that we have. That's a lot still. It's 5.5, at least 5.5 inches, right? And that's 5 3/4 inches. That's a lot of space. That's plenty of space right there. So my Wolf King GT Pro can have a 70 amp hour instead of a 35 amp hour, right? 35 amp hour battery that came in here. I could have a 70 amp hour battery by just running that in parallel. That means the negative, the black wire goes to the black wire of that battery, and the red wire goes to the red wire of that battery. That's called parallel, and it doubles your capacity, your range. It would double the range. So I'm interested in that. I don't know if I'll do it to this scooter, if I'll do that, but I'm thinking about it. It's just thought experiments, right? So anyway, everyone, I hope this video was helpful, and I would say voice your thoughts to Segway about what you think about this idea of, people getting locked out of their scooters when they buy them used, and they can't. I don't think it's common to be able to access the original owner, after a year or months of buying something from them. It's not common to keep in contact with people that you don't know, that you just buy something from on an ad. And it could be considered unreasonable to ask them, hey, can you please call this company and tell them, that I can work on the scooter? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm concerned about it. It's a concern I have. I'm thinking, do I want to keep Segway? Because what's the value of this scooter if I sell it to someone, and if it breaks on them, they can't fix it because they're not the original owner? It's something to consider, really, And look, in a Tesla car and an Escalade vehicle, as far as I know, you can buy a used one, and if it breaks, you can fix anything on it, and it's still going to go full speed. So when they say this is the Escalade, or the Cadillac, or the Tesla of scooters, as far as I know, all those vehicles you can buy used and not be limited because you're not the original owner. This is very important. So a request to Segway, please find a solution for this. I don't know what that solution is, but please work on it, because I want my friend Cameron to have his scooter working again, and I want people like Cameron who buy a used Segway that if it breaks, they can fix it. They should be able to do that, right? That's why the parts are being sold. But selling parts that can't be used to an owner that's not the original owner, that can't be used to their full capacity, that seems like it needs to be looked at again, because there needs to be solutions for Segway scooter owners and Segway product owners, especially when it's being purchased used. Okay, everyone, have a great day. See you next time. Bye.